Awesome. Well, good morning. Didn't they all do incredible? Give them one more round of applause before I start. Awesome. Well, we're just going to jump right in. How many of you guys have ever been dared to do something before? Let me see your hand. Raise it high with pride. Maybe as a kid or a teenager, a friend dared you to do something silly, a little bit dumb, or maybe even dangerous. Typically, when somebody dares you to do something, it's because they're asking you to do something that you wouldn't normally do, something that's outside of your comfort zone. Growing up, people would use the term, "I triple dog dare you." And to this day, I don't even actually know what that means. But what I do know is that if somebody said that to you, you better do it. When I was a kid, my neighbor dared me to climb a tree in his backyard. And that was something I had never done. If you could see 5-year-old Madison, she was short and she was timid and shy. So this was a really big deal for me. I was terrified. But eventually, through shaky hands and the help of a friend, I did it. Something I never thought I could do, all because somebody dared me to do it. This seemed like a big dare to my 5-year-old self. But this past year, I accepted one of the biggest dares of my life. And what it produced in me was something far greater than I could ever imagine. If you were here last year for 6-minute sermons, you might remember that I shared about Andrew and I's walk through infertility and miscarriage. At the time, I thought I'd be walking into 2025 full of excitement and the hope of seeing our miracle. But as the months went on, disappointment and fear crept in, and it seemed like they were there to stay. Last year was difficult as I went to doctor's appointments that were filled with uncertainty, and the hope of one day seeing the miracle that I had prayed for slipped away. When we are going through difficult things, it can be easy to lose our hope. The fear of being disappointed, being let down, being in the same position, it can lead us to hopelessness. And that's exactly what the enemy wants for our lives. He wants to steal our hope. And that's where I found myself. But what I love is that God does not leave us in our hopelessness. Today, I get to celebrate that the Lord has done miracles in my life this last year. Many of you know, but today I get to celebrate that I am 17 weeks pregnant after waiting for a child for 3 years. I'm going to try not to cry. But through this process, I've actually learned and been able to recognize that God has done miracles in my life that I haven't always given him the credit for. That before he gave me the miracle that I was asking for, he actually gave me a miracle that I needed. And that miracle was hope, to be able to hope again when it seemed lost. A scripture that the Lord kept bringing me back to this past year is found in Lamentations 3, and it's actually where Ava started. It says this, "I will never forget this awful time as I grieve over my loss. Yet I still dare to hope when I remember this. The faithful love of the Lord never ends. His mercies never cease. Great is his faithfulness. His mercies begin afresh each morning." The writer of Lamentations has clearly gone through something difficult, and I'm sure you've been there too. Maybe that's where you find yourself today. Losing a job, a broken relationship, infertility, betrayal, heartbreak, illness, the list goes on. What I love is that the writer says, "I will not forget this awful time as I grieve." Our hope does not come from trying to forget what we've experienced. In fact, God walks us through the process of grieving. We aren't meant to skip past the hurt that we've experienced, but we also aren't meant to stay there forever. The writer goes on, "Yet I still dare to hope." And what I love most is that the writer's hope doesn't come from their own strength, but their hope is found in the character of God, in his faithfulness, in his love, and his mercy. Hebrews describes this hope as an anchor for our souls. I don't know about you, but in the world that we live in today, I need my hope to be found in something that lasts, something that's real, an anchor. And that anchor is Jesus. This last year, I found myself losing my hope. It seemed scary to hope again, and many times it seemed impossible. And the truth was that it was impossible for me to have hope on my own. I couldn't have hope in my own strength. But like I said earlier, God doesn't leave us there. The writer of Lamentations dared to hope again despite the difficult things that they had walked through. And that hope came from the character of God, from knowing him and having a relationship with him. We can't find our hope in him if we don't know him. But the good news is that hope has come through Jesus, and we are all invited to know him and to experience the hope that is found in him. Looking back, I realized that God sustained me with a hope that was rooted in him when I dared to have it again. And it was that hope that kept my prayers alive, that strengthened my relationship with him, and ultimately that grew my faith in ways that I never could have imagined. He didn't erase the pain, but he gave me the hope and strength to continue day after day. And that was a miracle that I didn't even know that I needed. Hope has come through Jesus, and he offers us an invitation to have a hope that is anchored and sustained in him, not in the things around us, not in the things we've experienced or the things we can see with our natural eyes. He's offering us the gift and miracle of true hope, even if you thought that you lost it like I did. His invitation is for each and every one of you today, and I triple dog dare you to take him up on his offer. Thank you.